What's up, everybody? Coach Tom coming to you from the gym. Today, I want to talk to you about your routine. So, lately, I've worked with a few clients that have had some injuries, and there's certainly multiple factors that have gone into why they got injured. But what I want to talk about is variety for one of them, like not always doing the same thing, and I guess I want to talk about a couple of things. Think for yourself and avoid trends. So variety doesn't mean that you have to come up with weird acrobatic movements. And for example, what I mean is when I worked at Equinox, this was way back in my career, which isn't that long ago, but 2007 is when I started there. It was my first year do it professionally training was in 2006, but in 2007 I started Equinox. One of the things we used to have to do is that they came up with this kind of wacky thing because it was all based on variety because they just wanted customers to keep buying sessions. They don't really care whether you get results or not. They just want you to keep buying. As long as you keep buying, doesn't matter what you do. Trainers can do the dumbest shit with you or weirdest shit with you. If you're happy in your buying sessions, they do not care. And they're very trend based. If you're a member there, you probably know that. So we had this system and we were encouraged as trainers to use it. And it was a way to add all kinds of craziness to our exercises. And to give you an example, like at the end of if you went all the way down the grid, it was like a horizontal vertical thing. You could pair things up. You might be standing on a Bosu ball, like kicking your leg out to the side while, doing a bicep curl and pressing overhead. And people probably do that. Or you might know people who do that. And I'm not laughing at them. But I think it's amazing that that's something that's accepted or acceptable in the training world. And you got to take a step back sometimes if somebody tells you to do something and just use your common sense, right? If you saw someone doing that and you thought, what does that do? Then probably doesn't do anything. Or conversely might not be the right. Anyway, it probably doesn't help, So you can do things that don't give you a result, but also cause adaptations that you don't want. And when you have lots of those adaptations, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be in a world of hurt later on. And that's not usually the same week or even 6 months time. Could be, depending on what you're doing. That could be years down the line. And so, that was now I lost my train of thought because of how ridiculous some of that stuff was. So needless to say, I didn't do that back then. I did a little bit of it, but I never went to that extreme because in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, well, like, what the hell would I do that for? So at least I was always asking the question, is there a better way to do it? And you got to do that. So that comes down to, you got to learn to think. You got to learn to listen to your body. So another trait that is common in a lot of people when they've been hurt is they either misinterpreted the signals from their body. So they were listening, but they didn't quite get it. Like it was another language to them. They knew something was up, but because of all the BS out there that tells them some idea that's way off track, they're confused and they've made even worse decisions. So they dug a deeper hole. But then there's some people who really never learn how to do it. And, they just don't speak the physical language for whatever reason in their own body. So you got to learn how to do that. And you learn how to think. And you got to learn how to avoid when trends are there or new concepts are released. You gotta I guess you would say, take it with a grain of salt, right? You say, okay, does this make sense? You can try it even. Hell, I tried CrossFit when I was a trainer and I did it maybe a handful of times. And part of me liked the challenge of it. But back then I realized you couldn't do this all the time. If you wanted to do this once in a while was what I thought back then sure. But if you did this all the time, this wouldn't be good. But there are certain things that people get attracted to in doing that. And that's a whole separate discussion. So you got to have an open mind to try things because sometimes maybe something is effective or does help you, but you also got to have the courage to stand up against what everyone does and do what's best for you. So that you actually get the result that you say you want in the gym, and don't get hurt, and have a long and healthy life. But anyway, I get distracted, so I've gone over a couple of things. But so the variety part, doing things in your workout, it's nice to have the routine to do activity. I'm not against that. I think that's a good thing that we stay active. We don't sitting all the time and eating lots of food and all that. It can cause health problems for sure. But at the same time, we need to change up what we do if we're going in the gym, especially when I should say in the gym particularly, because when you're doing strength training, the chances of hurting yourself are way higher than if you're just playing a sport. There are negatives to playing sports. Soccer, I did a video talking about the World Cup. So soccer has certain attributes to the game, physical requirements, all that get developed, and then there's other things that aren't developed. You're not going to develop skills for basketball in tennis. I mean, in soccer, or tennis in soccer. And you might, you're not a martial artist, things like that. So there's the good and the bad, the positive and the negative. So when you're doing if you're doing a poorly designed strength training program and that's the only thing you're doing, then the chances of you getting hurt are pretty high. And I've had some clients that have gone through programs like that, and I don't like it. Like, I really don't like it. I don't make these videos. Obviously, when you train someone, you're helping them, and it's your profession. There is you're exchanging money for your service, but to see to not be able to move around, or to see the quality of life affected and the future in jeopardy because of things that could have been avoided, because the personal trainer, I'm not going to say they didn't care. Some of them don't. I know that's true. I've met ones that don't care. There's other ones that are just really naive, and that happens too. And there's other ones that sometimes they're just really young, and they haven't paid the price yet, or it's also like this cool factor. I think if I'm maybe I'm wrong, but I know when I was a trainer, it was kind of a fun job to have. You're at a gym, lots of people look to you for advice because you're young and you're fit, and I think people get attached to that reward, personal reward. So they're getting a lot out of being a trainer, and so it might not be a conscious decision, but the decisions are more about benefiting them than it is about the client. Like, they want the recognition of being the trainer and being needed. These are all human things, which is totally understandable. So and you got to be careful though, because this is your health and your body, and you only get one. You only get one life, and you can't, once you've done damage, and especially if you get to the point where you have to have surgery, you can't undo that. Like, you can't go back to before you were hurt or when you were born and start over. So certain things just have higher stakes, and it's more important. So when you do a routine, there's inevitably there will be some imbalance. So just change things up every now and again. Don't do the same thing all the time. And I think that used to be more common, but nowadays it seems like it's like a dance routine. The trainer or the person going to the gym knows, like, go here, 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 and they do that all the time. And not every workout causes the same amount of issue, but there certainly are some trendy stuff out there that are more damaging. So that's my word of advice. Be careful, and be careful on what you decide to do. It probably is advice you could apply to lots of things in life, because I do the same thing. And these lessons, that when I say this, I don't want to come across like I never make mistakes. I hurt myself before too, and I had to learn the hard way, and I don't want other people to do that. So appreciate you listening. And if you aren't following me already, hit the follow, or give me some comments below if you have questions. And you can also shoot me an email, Tom@TL Performance LA. Have a chat, have a look at your program, have a look at your body, and talk to you next time. Thank you.